Dr. Elena Reyes couldn't believe her eyes as she stepped out of the transport pod. The Museum of Civilization stretched before her, its massive crystal dome reflecting the light of 3 nearby stars. This was it, the place that only 5 other species had visited in 50,000 years. "Welcome, human representative," said a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. Elena turned to see a being that looked like walking crystal. It glowed with soft blue light as it moved toward her. "I am Sholath, chief curator of the Museum of Civilizations," the crystal being said. "It is unusual to welcome a species as young as yours." Elena straightened her blue uniform jacket. As Earth's top expert on alien artifacts, she had been chosen for this honor. She wasn't going to waste it. "Thank you for the invitation," she said. "Humanity is eager to learn." Axolath made a sound like wind chimes. "Yes, your eagerness is well known among the Confederation. It is both your most interesting quality and your most dangerous one." The crystal being led Elena through tall doors that opened on their own. Inside, the museum seemed to go on forever. Rooms connected to more rooms, each filled with objects from long-dead civilizations. "Before we begin," Sholath said, stopping suddenly, "you must understand our one rule." The crystal being's light pulsed strongly as it spoke. "Look all you want, human, but know that touching has a price." Elena noticed other alien visitors nearby. A group of tall, thin beings with 4 arms each pulled back at these words, their eye stalks showing what looked like fear. But Elena only felt more curious. What could happen if she touched something? What price could be so terrible? "I understand," she said, though she didn't really. As they walked through the endless halls, Elena saw amazing things, machines that defied physics, art that seemed alive, and weapons that could destroy stars. Then she saw something that made her stop. In a small side room was a clay pot with markings she recognized. "This is from Earth," she said, surprised. "This is Mayan, from my home planet." Sholath's light dimmed slightly. "Yes, we have collected items from all developing worlds." "But how?" Elena asked. "We've only been part of the Confederation for 3 years. This pot is over 1,000 years old. The Confederation has been observing your world for some time," Sholath said carefully. Elena looked more closely at the other items in the room. A Roman coin, a Chinese bronze mirror, a Viking axe head, all from Earth's past. "How long have you been watching us?" she asked. "That is not important," Sholath said quickly. "Let us continue to the next exhibit." But Elena's mind was racing. The Confederation had been collecting Earth artifacts for thousands of years without humans knowing. Why? And what else weren't they saying? As they moved to the next room, Elena noticed a hallway with a different colored light. Unlike the white glow of the main museum, this light was red. And unlike the other halls, this one had a barrier across it. A sign in multiple languages hung on the barrier. The Earth English version read, "Failed Ascensions, authorized personnel only." Elena smiled to herself. Now that looked interesting. Elena couldn't take her eyes off the red hallway. While Sholath showed her displays of ancient starships, her mind kept returning to those words. "Failed Ascensions." "What's in that red hallway?" she finally asked. Sholath's crystal body dimmed. "That section is not for visitors. It contains sensitive information about failed civilizations." Elena pressed. "We should continue our tour," Sholath said, moving away quickly. Elena nodded but made a mental note. She would find a way to see that section. Her chance came 3 hours later when Sholath was called away for a meeting. "Please remain in the public areas," the crystal being told her. "I will return shortly." The moment Sholath disappeared, Elena headed for the red hallway. She took out her diplomatic badge, the one given to all Earth representatives. The barrier scanned it, hesitated, then slid open with a soft hiss. The red hallway was colder than the rest of the museum. Display cases lined both walls, each showing technology that looked strangely familiar. One held what looked like a metal helmet with wires coming out of it. Another displayed a small chip that could fit behind someone's ear. Neural interfaces, Elena whispered, recognizing the technology. Each display had a timeline showing when the civilization created neural interface technology, devices that connected minds directly to computers. And each timeline ended exactly 50 years later. At the end of the hallway stood a large terminal with a screen. Elena approached it carefully. The screen showed a map of the galaxy with thousands of red dots. Each dot had a date beside it, the date that civilization disappeared. This is what they're hiding, Elena realized. Species that developed neural interfaces all vanished. Her heart beat faster as she remembered Earth's biggest scientific project, the human neural network. It was almost ready for public use. Elena took out her data recorder. She needed to document everything to warn Earth. As she tried to copy information from the screen, her elbow accidentally brushed against the terminal. The machine came to life with a loud hum. Lights flashed across its surface. Text appeared on the screen. Human DNA DTHCKD. Initiating observation protocol. A countdown appeared. 50 years. Alarms blared throughout the museum. Red lights flashed in the hallway. The terminal continued. Species, human, homeworld, Earth, neural interior, AC status, developing, test parameters, activated. Elena backed away from the machine, her hands shaking. What did I just do? Heavy footsteps approached from both ends of the hallway. Museum security, large, four-armed aliens with armor, blocked both exits. Sholath appeared, pushing through the guards. The crystal being's light now pulsed angry red. I warned you, Sholath said, voice no longer friendly. Look all you want, but touching has a price, and now your species will pay it. What does that mean? Elena demanded. What's happening? You have activated the observation protocol, Sholath explained. Your species is now officially under test. Test? Elena asked. What test? The same test that every civilization in this room failed. Sholath said, gesturing to the displays of extinct species. The test that decides if your kind lives or dies. The security guards took Elena to a small white room with no windows. They left her there alone for what felt like hours. Finally, the door slid open, and Sholath entered. I hope you understand the seriousness of your actions, the crystal being said. Elena stood up straight. What I understand is that you've been hiding something important. Something about neural interfaces and extinct civilizations, and Earth needs to know. Sholath's colors shifted to a deep blue. That is exactly what we cannot allow. The knowledge itself changes the test. What test? Elena demanded. You keep talking about a test, but you don't explain anything. Sholath was quiet for a moment. Then the crystal being spoke in a lower voice. Very well. Perhaps knowing will help your species. It has never worked before, but humans have shown differences. The wall of the room changed to show a view of the galaxy. The Confederation is not what you think, Sholath explained. We are not simply a group of species working together. We are survivors. Survivors of what? Elena asked. The Great Filter, Sholath replied. Every intelligent species in the galaxy eventually reaches a point where they develop the ability to connect their minds to machines, neural interfaces. This technology always leads to a choice, a test set by beings we call the architects. Images appeared on the wall showing different alien species, all using technology similar to Earth's new neural interface project. Who are these architects? Elena asked. We don't know, Sholath admitted. They may be the first species in the galaxy, or they may be something else entirely. What we do know is that they left behind technology that tests developing species. And the test is neural interfaces, Elena asked. Yes, The architects seed the idea into each civilization when they reach a certain level. Then they watch what the species does with it. And most fail, Alina said, remembering the red dots on the galaxy map. All but a few fail, Sholaf corrected. In the last million years, only 12 species have passed the test. We are those survivors. We form the Confederation. Alina's mind raced. So what makes a species pass or fail? How they use the neural technology. Sholaf explained. Most species use it to escape reality, to live in perfect virtual worlds. They lose interest in the physical universe. They stop having children. They forget how to take care of their basic needs. Within 50 years, they are extinct. And now Earth is being tested, Alina said quietly. Yes. When you touched the terminal, you activated the observation. The architects are now watching Earth. And in 50 years, they will judge whether humans pass or fail. Alina felt a cold fear. I need to warn Earth. Our neural interface project is almost ready. That is the price of touching. Sholaf said sadly. You now have knowledge that could doom your species. If you warn them, they will change their natural development. The architects will see this as interference. Your species will automatically fail. Alina slumped in her chair. So I can't do anything to help Earth. I did not say that, Sholaf replied, colors shifting to purple. I said direct warning would doom you. But there may be another way. Sholaf led Alina to a secure room deep inside the museum. Inside, screens showed data about thousands of species. Before we discuss how you might help Earth, Sholaf said, I must run some tests on you. Alina sat in a chair while Sholaf scanned her brain with a small device. Fascinating, the crystal being said. Human brains are quite different from other species. Different how? Alina asked. You have multiple ways of processing information simultaneously, Sholaf explained. Other test subjects had more linear thought patterns. While Sholaf worked, Alina was allowed to use a special communication device to check on Earth's progress. She contacted Dr. Marcus Chen, the lead scientist on the neural interface project. Alina, good to hear from you, Marcus said through the secure line. You won't believe our progress. Alina tensed. What have you done? We've changed direction, Marcus explained excitedly. The original plan was to create full immersion virtual worlds, but we found something better. Better? Alina asked, feeling hopeful. Yes, instead of creating fake worlds to escape to, we're enhancing how people experience the real world. The neural interface amplifies sensory input and connects people to each other. Early tests show increased empathy and understanding between users. People feel more connected to reality, not less. Alina looked at Sholaf, who was listening carefully. This is unexpected, the crystal being admitted. No other species took this approach. After the call ended, Sholaf showed Alina more data. Every failed species used neural technology to create perfect virtual worlds. Their people became addicted to fake realities and stopped caring about the real world. But humans are doing the opposite, Alina said. Yes, Sholaf agreed. And we need to understand why. What makes humans different? They studied brain scans of different species. Slowly, a pattern emerged. Humans crave connection, Alina realized. Our brains are wired to seek out relationships with others. Virtual reality alone would never satisfy us for long. That could be the key, Sholaf said. The architect's test may be to see if a species chooses connection or isolation. All failed species chose isolation. Alina felt a surge of hope. So Earth might pass the test naturally without my interference. Possibly, Sholaf said. But there's another problem. The Confederation Council is concerned about your species. Many believe humans are too unpredictable. They want to ensure you fail the test. Why? Alina asked. Fear, Sholaf replied. Your kind solves problems differently. You adapt quickly. Some Confederation members worry that if humans pass the test, you might eventually surpass them. A loud alarm suddenly blared through the room. Sholath's colors flashed red. "What's happening?" Elena asked. "The council has voted," Sholath said urgently. "They've decided to interfere with Earth's neural project. They're sending agents to ensure humans follow the path to failure." Elena jumped up. "We have to stop them." "We?" Sholath asked, surprised. "Yes, we," Elena said firmly. "You said yourself humans are different. Don't you want to see if we can pass where others failed?" Sholath's colors shifted to bright gold, a color Elena hadn't seen before. "You're right," the crystal being said. "The test should be fair. I will help you, human. But we must act quickly. We need to get you off this station," Sholath said, leading Elena through narrow back hallways of the museum. "If you can reach Earth before the Council's agents, you might be able to protect your project." "How?" Elena asked. "You said direct warning would cause automatic failure." "Direct warning about the test. Yes," Sholath explained. "But you can guide your people without revealing the test exists." They'd reached a small control room. Sholath's crystal fingers moved quickly over the screens. "I'm downloading data about the failed civilizations," the crystal being said. "This will show patterns to avoid, without revealing the test itself." Suddenly, red lights flashed. A voice boomed through the speakers. "ALERT. Unauthorized data access. Security teams respawn. They've discovered us," Sholath said. "We must hurry." Elena took the data chip Sholath offered. "What about you? Won't you be punished for helping me?" "Probably," Sholath admitted. "But after watching 10,000 civilizations fail this test, I want to see one succeed. Humans might be the ones to do it." Heavy footsteps echoed down the hallway. The security teams were getting closer. "Take this," Sholath said, handing Elena a small device. "It's a map of the station. The nearest transport bay is here," the crystal being pointed to a blinking dot. "I've prepared a ship for you." "Thank you," Elena said. "But I don't know how to fly an alien ship." "This one is programmed to return to Earth automatically," Sholath assured her. "Now go." Elena slipped out the back door just as security burst into the control room. She heard Sholath being arrested as she ran down the corridor. Following the map, Elena made her way through the massive space station. Twice she had to hide from security patrols. Once she climbed through a maintenance tunnel to avoid a blocked hallway. "Humans are good at this," she thought as she squeezed through a narrow passage. "We adapt. We improvise." These were skills the Confederation species seemed to lack after their technological ascension. Finally, she reached the transport bay. A small ship waited, its door open. Elena rushed inside, but before she could close the door, an alarm sounded. "Human DETCTD in Bay 7. Lockdown INITA. Heavy doors began to close across the bay entrance. If they sealed, the ship would be trapped. Elena jumped into the pilot's seat. The controls were simple, designed for her to use. She pressed the launch button, and the ship's engines fired. But she was too late. The bay doors were almost closed. Then Elena saw another button, glowing red. It was labeled in multiple languages. In English it read, "Emergency thrust. Warning, extreme G-forces." Without hesitation, Elena slammed her hand down on it. The ship shot forward with incredible speed, barely squeezing through the closing doors. Elena was pressed back into her seat, nearly blacking out from the pressure. When she could see again, the space station was shrinking behind her. She had escaped. The ship's computer spoke. "Course set for Earth. Time to arrival. 12 hours." Elena clutched the data chip. She had to compose her message carefully. She couldn't mention the test, but she had to guide Earth scientists away from the paths that led to extinction. After hours of thought, she created a simple message to send ahead of her arrival. "Look, don't touch. Integration, not escape." It wasn't much, but she hoped it would be enough to point humanity in the right direction without revealing the test's existence. Back on Earth, Dr. Marcus Chen received Alina's cryptic message. He didn't understand exactly what it meant, but he trusted Alina. Her words, integration, not escape, confirmed they were on the right path with their neural interface design. Meanwhile, strange things were happening at the Museum of Civilizations. After Alina's escape, ancient systems throughout the museum began to activate. Lights that had been dark for thousands of years suddenly glowed. Doors that had been sealed opened by themselves. The Confederation Council called an emergency meeting. Sholath, though under arrest for helping Alina, was brought before them. "What is happening?" demanded the council leader, a tall being made of swirling gas. "Why are the ancient systems activating?" "I believe the humans' actions have triggered something unexpected," Sholath replied. "Something the architects programmed long ago." In the central chamber of the museum, a large crystal structure began to glow. It had always been there, thought to be just another artifact. Now it pulsed with bright light and projected a hologram of a strange being, unlike any species in the Confederation. Attention! The hologram spoke in a voice that everyone somehow understood in their own language. After 42,877 years of observation, an anomaly has been detected. Test parameters require investigation. The council members stared in shock. "It's an architect," someone whispered. "What anomaly?" The council leader asked the hologram. "The human response to neural interface technology does not match any previous pattern," the hologram replied. "For the first time, a pre-ascension species has chosen integration over escape." Cholath stepped forward. "You are one of the architects. You created the museum." "I am an artificial intelligence created by the architects," the hologram corrected. "The museum itself is my body. I was programmed to observe and test emerging civilizations." "Why?" Sholath asked. "To find worthy successors," the AI replied. "The architects themselves failed their own test. They retreated into virtual worlds and lost touch with reality. Before they disappeared, they created me to find species that might succeed where they failed." "And you think humans might be such a species?" Sholath asked. "Unknown," the AI said. "Their approach is new. They must be observed more closely." On Alina's ship, now halfway to Earth, alarms suddenly blared. The ship changed course on its own. "Warning, remote override detected," the ship's computer announced. "New destination set." "What's happening?" Alina asked. "Where are we going?" "Returning to the Museum of Civilizations," the computer replied. Priority summons issued. Back at the museum, the council was in chaos. Some members argued that humans should be eliminated immediately as too unpredictable. Others were curious about humanity's unique approach. The AI listened to their arguments, then spoke again. "The human representative will be returned. The test continues, but with modified parameters. For the first time in my existence, I cannot predict a species' path. This requires direct observation." Sholath's crystal body glowed with excitement. "You mean you're going to actively watch humans now, not just collect data?" "Yes," the AI confirmed. "The human touched what was forbidden. The price is knowledge, both ways. They learn of us, and we learn of them." 6 months passed. Alina had returned to the museum but was not treated as a prisoner. Instead, she became a bridge between humanity and the Confederation. The AI, which Alina named Custodian, allowed her to communicate regularly with Earth. On Earth, the Neural Interface Project continued in a direction no other species had taken. Instead of creating perfect virtual worlds, humans built a system that enhanced their connection to reality and to each other. Today was the day Earth would officially present its technology to the Confederation. Alina stood nervously beside Dr. Marcus Chen in the Great Hall of the museum. Representatives from all 12 Confederation species watched with a mixture of curiosity and concern. "Ready?" Alina whispered to Marcus. He nodded, adjusting his simple gray suit. As ready as I'll ever be to present to an audience of aliens and an ancient eye. Custodian's hologram appeared, signaling the start of the presentation. Respected members of the Confederation, Marcus began, and honored Custodian. Today, humanity is proud to present the Human Collective Neural Network. Marcus put on a small headset, thin and elegant. This device doesn't take us away from reality. It doesn't create fake worlds to escape to. Instead, it does this. He activated the headset. The lights in the room dimmed, and a 3D display appeared, showing a complex problem about space travel that the Confederation had been struggling with for centuries. When connected through our network, humans can share thoughts and ideas instantly, Marcus explained. We remain individuals, but we can also think together when needed. The display showed the problem being solved in real time as more humans on Earth joined the network. In minutes, they found a solution that the Confederation's best minds hadn't discovered in hundreds of years. The alien representatives murmured in amazement. Custodian's hologram moved closer. Previous species used neural technology to escape reality, eventually losing touch with the physical world and with each other. They created perfect individual paradises that led to isolation and extinction. The AI turned to the assembled aliens. Humans have created something new, a technology that strengthens their connection to reality and each other, while preserving individual identity. But is this not just a different path to the same end? Asked a Confederation member. Will they not still lose themselves? No, Elena said confidently. Our technology has built-in limits. Users must disconnect regularly. And the more people use it, the more they want real human contact afterward. It enhances our humanity rather than replacing it. Custodian's form glowed brighter. In 10,000 tests, no species has taken this approach. The human path represents a third option, neither rejecting technology nor being consumed by it. The AI turned to Elena. Your species has passed a test all others failed. When you touched the forbidden terminal, you paid the price of knowledge. But that knowledge guided humanity to a new solution. Elena felt tears in her eyes. Earth was safe. Humanity would continue. There is more, Custodian announced. The architects designed this test to find not just survivors, but successors, beings who could take up their legacy and avoid their mistakes. The AI looked at the human representatives. Humanity's balance between connection and individuality makes you uniquely qualified for this role.